Welcome to the Becoming Superhuman podcast, where we interview extraordinary people to bring you the skills and strategies to overcome the impossible. And now, here's your host, Jonathan Levy.
This episode is brought to you by Become a Super Learner, the Masterclass. You guys, if you have ever wanted to learn things faster, to read faster and waste less time reading boring textbooks, if you've ever wanted to have near perfect memory for names, numbers, anything you want to learn, and expand your mind and retain information in a way that you never thought possible, well, then the Become a Super Learner Masterclass is exactly what you've been looking for. It's a 10-week program developed by myself and my mentors alongside some of the world's best memory experts and world record holding memory champions. It'll take you from zero to super learning hero in just a matter of 10 weeks in about 30 minutes a day or less. Now, you can go ahead and sign up for a free trial with no credit card required. All you have to do is go to jle.vi/learn. And if you choose to pick up the full course, you will also get an incredible discount for listeners of this podcast only. So please make sure to check it out and support the show. And on to today's episode. Well, hello there, super friends, and welcome to this week's episode of the Becoming Superhuman podcast. Today's episode is brought to you thanks to a review from Carlito Smoove from Canada, who says, "How did I live without this? 5 stars. In all honesty, I discovered the podcast recently after listening to Jonathan's webinar, and at first it just piqued on my curiosity. I'm an avid consumer of information related to how to be a better human, and this podcast was an epic, jaw-dropping moment. The conversations are genuine and packed with gold nuggets. You don't even have to follow any rainbow. You just have to listen to this. I just registered to the Super Learning Academy, and I'm looking forward to hearing more of these conversations. Cheers." Well, thank you, Carlitos Smoove, both for listening to the podcast and for leaving a review, and of course, for joining Super Learner Academy. I'm really excited, and I think you're going to like it even more than the podcast. On to today's episode. Today, we are joined once again by my friend T. Major. If you haven't heard our first episode with T, you might want to check it out. He's a pretty awesome guy. In that episode, we talked about all the experiences and things that he has learned from training the world's most elite warriors. He's actually trained every single branch of the military in their fitness regimen. He's lived in Kyrgyzstan and Iraq and Afghanistan. But now, in this episode, we are talking a little bit more about the actual practical hands-on of calisthenics. What is calisthenics? How does it fit into your fitness routine? How can you remain fit and healthy on the go if you don't have access to equipment? And we talk about some other stuff. We actually went on a total tangent about business management and how the lessons learned in business management can make you a better human being in all of your relationships. So I hope you guys get a lot of value out of that. I really wanted to go on this tangent because it's something that I'm learning so much about, and it was an opportunity for me to use the Feynman Technique and teach someone else what I've been learning. So without any further ado, I know you guys are going to enjoy this episode with T. Major. Mr. T. Major, welcome back, my friend. How are ya?
I'm doing well, brother. How are you?
Living the dream. It's been a while. It's been almost a year since we spoke. What's new?
It was like October of last year, right? Yeah, man. I mean, everything is new. Literally everything is new. New location. I'm living in Berlin, Germany now.
Oh, congrats.
New book that's out. That's what we're going to talk a little bit about that today. New baby. I have a 4-month-old.
Congrats, Mazal Tov.
Yeah, thanks, man. Life is pretty exciting right now. I have no complaints.
Incredible, incredible. And you have this amazing new book, Irving Cal, Esthetics, which I'm super excited about. Tell me a little bit about the journey to writing this book. I mean, we talked last time on the episode about the mindset piece of what it's like to train the military. Incredible episode for those who haven't listened to it. We really went into what are the things that you can learn from this incredible organization that is the U.S. military and Marine Corps, which you had the privilege of working with in Iraq to refresh people's memories, and just the lessons that can be taken away from how they train human capital. But we didn't get so much to talk about what is your real genius, which is helping people be healthy in their bodies and move. So tell me a little bit about this journey, why you wrote the book, and why you felt it was something that was missing in the world.
First of all, I appreciate you using my name and genius in the same phrase. That's very flattering. I wouldn't consider myself a genius. I think like my best feature is that I just like to work hard. It's kind of ingrained in my DNA, and I've been very fortunate that it's taken me places, and it's caused me to kind of hone in and focus and get tunnel vision on a couple of different concepts of fitness that I've really been interested in, and I've been pretty successful in, again, because of my genetics. So, yeah, I decided to write this book because I started on this journey with the military of teaching them very basic calisthenics. Like for the listeners that don't really know, I've trained every branch of the military, and every branch of the military has a standardized fitness test that they have to take in order to, one, be accepted into the military to prove they're fit enough to be a soldier, but then also they have regularly scheduled fitness tests in order to stay in the military. And part of the fitness test that they have to do in every branch, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and usually a run test or a swim test if you're a Marine. Before I embarked on the journey to train military, I knew that I needed to be more proficient in these activities than they did if I was going to be a coach, of course.
You got to walk the talk, man.
Exactly. You can't be this asshole that's in the front of the room telling them to push harder and do more push-ups if you can't do more push-ups. That's just the way I looked at it. So that's kind of started my journey into really focusing in on calisthenics. And from there, I just kept building upon it. The industry really evolved to what you see today, which is guys that are flinging themselves over bar, doing 360s on bars, the guys that are doing backflips off of stuff into planches and different calisthenics movements, which is really insane, where we've gone from 2013 when I started training military to 2018 right now, and what you see on YouTube. So yeah, I've just continued along the journey. And, this book, I was approached by DK and Alpha, which is a sister company or subsidiary of Penguin House Publishers, because the calisthenics industry is exploding, and they thought that I would be a good fit. And I was primed and ready, man. I had really a nice collection of blog posts and writings and thoughts and exercises that I've been practicing, and it was just perfect timing.
Okay, so I'm going to ask maybe ignorant question. What exactly are calisthenics? Because I have a picture in my head of what I think it means, and it's like something with body weight. But how do you define calisthenics? How's it different from how people are working out at 24-hour fitness right now?
Yeah, very different, and I'm glad you're asking this question because it's something that I cover in the book, and it's something I think the majority of the population is still pretty confused with it. It's not exactly body weight training. I mean, it would be very close to what people understand as body weight training, but I would say it's taken it to the next level. Calisthenics literally means strength and beauty. It's an old Greek word that, formed like way back in the beginning of time, because it's how the Spartans used to train back in the day in order to get ready for battle. And I guess a very simple way to explain it is it's a series of body weight only exercises that train the body in a variety of ways to develop a blend of physical attributes, right? So it's training to improve cardio capacity, training to improve strength, training to improve core strength, training to improve coordination, power, acceleration. It really touches on just about every aspect of athletic ability that you can think of.
And so are weights a component? Is equipment a component? Because when I think calisthenics, I think no equipment, just you and your body. Or is that my association?
That's absolutely true. But of course, you can use different apparatus and different pieces of equipment in order to assist you in doing calisthenics movements. But essentially what it is using your own body weight to do pushing movements, pulling movements, leg movements, abdominal movements, and cardio movements.
I love it. Okay. I love it. And what I love about it is, sometimes when we travel, we have this excuse of like, well, I don't have access to a good gym. And, I'm holding your book in my hand right now. And this is a handbook, a manual to, that's bullshit. Like, you can do incredible work. You've got some exercises here that are really hard and really, really functional and phenomenal forms of strength training. Say that 3 times fast.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm not even sure I could do. And I consider myself to be a pretty strong athlete. My only complaint is I would love to have this on my iPad and carry it with me everywhere.
Working on that, brother. I'm working on that right now. I'm actually doing a site redesign and an app redesign. And yeah, this is going to be a component of that. It's going to have tons of new information. It's really going to go in depth on each exercise, and everything that we're talking about today. It's even going to go more in depth. What is calisthenics, the benefits, and questions that a lot of people have. Like, can it shred body fat? Can it gain strength? Can you build muscle only doing calisthenics? So these are the questions that I see all the time, and this top priority for me to really give it a spot on the website to where people can get this information. But yeah, upon first glance, when you look at this book and you look inside of it, the average person is going to look at it and go, oh, wow, this is not for me. And essentially, it's not for them. This is definitely for the person that is interested in training in calisthenics. And so everything I just said before, using your own body weight to increase speed, strength, power, coordination, acceleration. This is not just a weight loss program, right?
Totally. And that's exactly what I'm not sure if it came across, but what I was saying is like, you've managed to assemble a book that proves to people you can get a great workout in anywhere. It is not an excuse that the hotel gym sucks. Like, you can do amazing work that is really, really going to develop your fitness from the crappiest hotel room in the world.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it'd be a luxury if you had a hotel room gym, because then you can really diversify your calisthenics training. If you have just a couple of pieces of equipment, which I also include in the book, a few pieces, bands, if you have access to bands, if you have access to a box, or just a set of stairs, even, really can take your calisthenics training to the next level.
Totally. And I really love that because, I do this all the time. I was in Manila 2 weeks ago and I go into the hotel gym and I'm like, it's all these crappy machines that I know, single access. And we take it as an excuse, and it doesn't have to be. But I think your average person doesn't have the knowledge or maybe the creativity to be like, hey, I can use this towel and I can accomplish a really, really phenomenal pull-up even on the roof rafters.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, you obviously have coached thousands upon thousands of people. Is calisthenics for you a training plan in and of itself, or is it something that you supplement with weight training or with a cardiovascular program? Where does it fit in for you?
So I'll answer this in 2 ways, right? So broadly, in general, I integrate calisthenics training into my weekly routine. Mm-hmm. I also do weight training because I think that there's certainly a place for this. I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, you know what? Calisthenics is the only way to train. This is the best way to train. No such thing. There's no such thing as the best way to train. There may be the best way to train for yourself. There's the best way to train for your body type. Usually what I tell the people that I train with is the best piece of equipment is the one that you'll use.
Totally.
So for me, this definitely fits into a mix of all of the other styles of training that I use. HIIT training, I do circuit training, I also do weight training, and calisthenics is just one component of what I do.
I really love that. And I think that's why you and I get along so well, is we're not extremists. And, anyone who claims that their way is the gospel, I really have a problem with. There's a school of gymnastic training out of Israel. I won't name names, but everyone will know exactly who I'm talking about, that has become cult-like in its grandiosity. And they're convinced that their way is the only way and you shouldn't go to a gym and you should only do their classes. And I just cannot do it. You know, I went to 3 or 4 classes, and it's like such a privilege to live in Israel, where this school of teaching that people fly all over the world just to get one lesson with this method. And I can't have it. I'm like, I know for a fact that there are things that are not happening in this room that need to be happening. Like, what about cardiovascular fitness? And what about, so I really appreciate that.
It's good that you don't name any names, because you might have to watch your back, right?
Right.
But that's the thing, right? Like, everywhere you look, there's another quote unquote guru shoving a new revolutionary way to train and gain strength, or some fitness trainer has another shortcut cure to alleviate some form of bitch assness that most people have, really, that it was what it boils down to, or some kind of cure for laziness that's making you fat, really. But there is no magic cure. Really, it's all internal. It's all inside your head. It's finding out which system works for you, and it's going to get you off your ass.
Totally. And I once heard someone say this, and I really like the way that it was explained. Like, I'm a big believer in evolution. And I'll do anything if you can prove to me beyond a reasonable doubt that this is the way that our bodies, minds, psychology, whatever, was evolved, right?
Yeah.
Within reason, because, the age-old practice of killing off the elders, probably not socially acceptable today. But if you can prove to me, that our ancestors sat in a squat and that helped with range of motion in the hips, hell yeah, like, I'll wait at the bus stop in a squat, Often my fiance hates it when I'm just like, we're waiting around in line and I'll just like pop a squat and start working on my hips, right? And the same goes for exercise. And I think that's what's wise about calisthenics is like, yes, there was definitely a weightlifting component in being a hunter-gatherer, where like you were probably doing a lot of long farmer carries and a lot of climbing up on rocks, which is a lot like a pull-up. But there's also this component of like the exercise that we did involved our body weight, right? And climbing up on things and moving in all kinds of natural ways that you just don't get in a Cybex machine.
Exactly right. I agree with you 100%. Even look at like even more current history, right? Like martial artists, gymnastics, and guys that practice calisthenics back in the day. I mean, if you just look at it, like they realized that their body was their best tool for movement. And, everything they did was a form of strength training. And I think that we can really take a lot of information and a lot of advice from those guys. I mean, if you look at it, they're just good movers and typically very, very healthy. So
totally.
That's where I pull a lot of my inspiration. I watch the Olympics and I see these guys, and it's just ridiculous the things that they can do with their body. Martial artists and their acrobatics and their strength, power generation. These things are things that I aspire to do. I don't really care if I can push 500 pounds off of my chest while laying on my back. But, I do care if I can punch a guy in the chest and send him flying across a room from a 1-inch distance.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And, I don't know if I adequately underscored this before, but I got to compliment you because this book is beautiful.
Thank you.
Color, the whole thing. I mean, just incredibly high quality photos, some very, very fit models doing perfect movements. And what I love about it is you point out, so a lot of times when we talk about accelerated learning, I talk about key principles, right? Like what are the important things that I need to do when I'm doing a hanging leg raise? And you simplify it to 3 core things, right? Engage the lats, engage the core, extend the legs forward. You break it down in such a way that I avoid injury and I'm not worried about 100 different things. And then what I really love is just like simple outlines here. Mastering the movement. Good. Hold 15 seconds. Better. Hold 30 seconds. Mastered. Hold 1 minute per side. Like this book, if you're not versed in movement philosophy, to borrow a term from that who will not be named, if you're not versed in it, this simplifies it and just makes it like so simple, right? Like here's what I need to do a wall sit, and here's how it should look, and here's how much I should be able to do it. So really kudos, hats off on an incredible handbook in kind of not just calisthenics, but I think functional kinesiology.
Thank you. Yeah. The key word you use is simple, right? Simplicity.
Totally.
And that really goes along with my entire Kaizen philosophy. And I really try to bring that across without all the psychobabble. And, like one day I will write a book on Kaizen and my fitness approach through, my fitness approach.
Love that.
Using Kaizen. But for the book that's going to be on the shelf for somebody that wants to learn calisthenics, I just wanted to put together something that was very simple. My editor that I worked with was also a guy who really, like, simplicity really resonated with him. So what I did was, and during the process, was I overwrote a bunch of information because I needed to puke all of this onto a piece of paper.
Yes.
And then we just started chopping shit away. Chop, 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 and left what was essential for that person, that they can pick it up. They can read these 3 points. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. What should I shoot for? What's a small goal? Okay. Hold it for 30 seconds. All right, cool. And then they get into the gym,
I love that. I know that an interview is going well when I'm like, okay, 3 things that I need to say about what you just said. The first one is Marcella Allison, who's a pretty famed copywriter, recently told me, I was hanging out with her in San Diego a couple of months ago, recently told me good copy is not written, it's edited, meaning the difference. And I think it's true of any writing, not just copy. The best writing is not written in stream of consciousness. It's the stuff that you cut out that makes it so brilliant. And recently, Annie Hyman Pratt gave me a copy of One Small Step Can Change Your Life, the Kaizen Way. And I've started getting into it. I don't know if you've read it, and just getting fascinated by this idea of Kaizen, because it's been a theme for me in my life, going from when you're young and foolhardy and kind of egotistical, you think, well, I'm just starting tomorrow, I'm never going to do this again, or every single day I'm going to work out, and realizing as you mature that actually slow and steady change is the way to really get ahead in your life. Tell me a little bit about your experience with Kaizen and just how you apply it to fitness.
Yeah, like when I first heard the Kaizen philosophy, it was back when I was a sales rep for a large corporation. And in the States, we had Six Sigma, which is kind of the equivalent of a business practice. It's meant to streamline things. And so, it was interesting to me because, I don't know, I've always gravitated towards processes and structure.
Yeah.
I kind of thrive within structure. That's just me personally. I have kind of a chaotic brain, but I know that I'm way more successful when I have structure. So I started looking into Kaizen, and it just really resonated with me. And so when I adopted and adapted the philosophy towards fitness, I thought, okay, like, how can I kind of boil this down to essentials of movement or for strength training? And I came up with the 3 E's: educate, eliminate, and evaluate. 3 simple ways in order to accomplish Kaizen through fitness, right? So educate, right? Ask who, what, when, where, how, why is wasteful in your life, right? Mm-hmm. Who in my life is, like a piece of shit that I need to eliminate? What in my life is wasteful? What movement is, in my routine is wasteful? When am I doing this wasteful movement? Why do I perform this wasteful movement? Why do I smoke cigarettes or do these things that are, essentially not good for me, right? So this is the education phase. Elimination would be the next step, using small, systematic, bite-sized chunks and eliminating what in Kaizen they call muri, right? Waste. So instead of thinking, I want to quit smoking, I'm going to smoke 1 less cigarette today. Right. And then the last step would be to evaluate this whole process. Right. How do you feel? How is your performance? How does your body look now? Like, is your breath changing now? Like, now that you smoke 1 less cigarette, how are you feeling, right? Are you hungry more? Do you want to eat more? Are you eating more now that you're cutting back on smoking? And I use smoking as an example because it's something a lot of people can relate to, and it's something that a lot of people should cut back on and stop. But yeah.
Totally. And for those who are wondering, like, what's this Kaizen thing? It's just really a Japanese philosophy, although actually it's like the Japanese name for a philosophy that came from the US. It's complicated. But in general, it's a Japanese philosophy of making small, steady, and sustainable change, as opposed to everybody doing their New Year's resolution. Only 12% of people stick to it. Doing, as T said, a small step of little by little by little, and then having it stick.
That's right.
So, yeah. And I think that's perfect for fitness.
Yeah. Large goals into small bite-sized chunks.
Totally. All right, at this point, I want to pause and take a moment to thank our sponsor, Four Sigmatic, who is making it easy for everyday people to unlock the incredible health benefits of mushrooms. I originally learned about Four Sigmatic when I met their founder at a conference in 2015, and I have been pretty much obsessed with their products ever since. Personally, I use their reishi mushroom tea most nights for an all-natural sleep aid. I carry their chaga immunity blend anytime I travel. And I've also pretty much switched out my usual coffee or yerba mate for their unbelievably awesome mushroom coffee, either in ground or in instant form. Now, what I love about the mushroom coffee is that it combines chaga for immune support with lion's mane for intense focus. And because of that, I actually find it to be more effective than most nootropics or stimulants, including Ritalin, despite having only 40 milligrams of caffeine. It's honestly insane. If you haven't tried out their products, I strongly recommend you do so. And to encourage you to give them a try, we've actually teamed up with Four Sigmatic to bring you an incredible 15% discount. To take advantage of that, just visit foursigmatic.com/superhuman today. All right, back to the show. So, T, what is next for you? What are you working on? What are you excited about?
I'm always excited, man. Really, like every day is a chance. I know it sounds cliche. Every day is a chance to really, improve and do something else. But I'm at a place right now in my life, now that I have a new location, I have a new baby, like everything. I have a new book to promote. So every day I wake up, it's like, cool. I have a lot of shit to work on, a lot of stuff to push.
Right.
A lot of stuff to be really proud of, and a lot of stuff to really try to get out there to more and more people. So next, is to kind of revamp and put all of this into, something else I can be proud of online, because I built my site years ago, like back in 2013, actually, when I was in Kyrgyzstan, and I'm proud of it. It served its purpose at the time, but I need a bit more functionality. Times have changed. You know how it is. Like, you need 50 different ways to be able to deliver content to people, because we're absorbing content in so many different ways. So the new site will reflect the current space,
Totally.
I'm really excited about the new site. It's going to take all of my programs that I have now, which are essentially one-off programs. You make a purchase, you take the PDF, you take the videos, you go off, you do your training. I'm going to turn these into longer, more detailed lesson plans. Mm-hmm. So my site's going to be more like an Udemy, like an educational type of website where you'll be taken systematically, step by step, through every workout, every exercise, and it's going to be more teaching you. I'm going to be way more involved in the actual site. It's going to be forums. It's going to be live workouts. It's going to be a lot more video features. So I'm working on building a community around the brands and around the programs that I've created, so that I can really help people more on a one-on-one and help people that are training in a particular style, right? So let me elaborate on this a little bit. Like, the people that want to train in calisthenics that follow me, I want to have a space for them to get all of their calisthenics knowledge, and I want to be able to reach all of them, because we're all doing the same shit, right? The people that train my F3 program, which is my functional program, I want to be able to reach them in a group. So that's what I'm working on now.
I love it. And you're so right. Like, the landscape changes so much, and we just had to hire a whole new marketing agency that is able to work more deeply in every aspect of our company, work with our designers, work with our video editors, work with our content people. And I mean, there are 10 people at this agency just to manage our ads and our marketing funnels and our messaging, so that we're always delivering the best that we can to people. And it's like, we're not that big of a business,
Wow. You need a staff of 10.
Yeah, that's just the marketing and advertising stuff. I mean, and not everyone in that team of 10 is working on our stuff, to be fair.
I'm sure at some point they'll cross their desk, though, for sure.
It's crazy to me. And, it's like, really, like, that's what it takes in this day and age to be like on the cutting edge of marketing. And yeah, it is, So I'll be happy to provide experience sharing or mentorship, so you don't have to make the mistakes that I made along the way.
I would definitely appreciate that. Now I'm doing a lot of crash courses on performance marketing, so content marketing, right? So I'm looking into and using tools like Taboola and Outbrain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an education in itself.
let me share one piece of experience that I'm going through right now that I actually think will be really helpful for our audience as well, which is, so I, as a super learner, I can learn all this stuff very quickly. And so the temptation is like just to learn everything and do it yourself. And that's admirable if you're interested and passionate about it. But what I realized looking back is like learning so much about writing email copy. And I've learned how to become, I think, a pretty damn good copywriter, and learning about marketing funnels and automation and Facebook ads and all this stuff. I look back and I'm like, I was doing that instead of serving my audience.
Yeah.
And what I needed was to hire people who say, don't do that, that's my job, and slap my hand out of the way. So like, don't confuse being passionate and energetic about learning more about your industry with distraction, because there's a fine line there. Sometimes the fine line gets blurry, I'll be honest with you.
Man, this is really good advice. Like really, you're a godsend right now. Like some energy came and smacked you in the back of the head and said, spit this out to Team Major right now because I need to hear this.
Totally.
This is my current struggle right now.
Right. And that was a mistake that I made in my business that I think held us back, was that I love the marketing stuff. Since I was a little kid, I would watch, like my dad would mute the TV during ads and I would shout at him because like, I want to understand how this works. This is psychology. This is sociology. This is what I have a degree in, but from a different angle. So try not to make that mistake. And well, we can talk about all the amazing stuff that Annie Hyman Pratt is teaching me. I feel like I mention her in every podcast episode, and I really love her coaching program, and I'll be happy to refer you. But you want to be focusing on the big outcomes and the vision in your business. And by the way, this, applies for everybody. We should have an offline session and I'll rap with you about it and I'll tell you all about Annie. But you want to be focusing on those big outcomes, and what you want to try to avoid doing as much as possible is things that are functional tasks that serve that outcome. So yeah, we can rap about it. I'll be happy to experience share, but hire people that don't let you do this stuff.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny that you say that, because like one of the questions that you sent over, for in preparation for this interview was, what are some of my favorite books? And have you ever read The E-Myth?
It's one of my favorite books of all time in my business. Absolutely.
I have The E-Myth revisited actually, and
even better.
I need to revisit it, obviously, because this is exactly what it talks about, right? Don't be that guy that works in the business, instead of on business. And
Totally.
I do a lot of that.
So I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years, and that's a lesson that's so important that I'm still learning how deep it goes. And, I learned it from Michael Gerber, the E-Myth Revisited, at the process level of like install processes so that your people can do the tasks as well as you do. But I'm now learning it at the next level, which is install culture and communication at a level that people can make decisions for you. And, we're working on also a lot of new stuff where we're changing the way that our site works and rolling together content. So our YouTube content is also going to show on the podcast website for anyone who wants to check out our YouTube content. We're doing a real push. And I'm telling my employees, you know what? I trust you. I don't actually need to know what you guys decide. I have no idea where my videos are going to appear, how we're going to redesign our blog, but it's getting to this next level, and I'm nowhere near leadership mastery in this. But Annie loves to say, and I love to hear her say it, when things get messy and you're just like, but I feel like this, and I don't know if this person is this. She's like, yep, that's leadership. It's not standing up on stages. Like, this is leadership, is delegating and communicating.
You can't control everything, man.
You cannot control everything. And your duty and obligation is to the tens, hundreds, I saw on Facebook recently, hundreds of thousands of people who want to hear what you have to say and get your message out there.
That's right. And what you said really resonates. I'm definitely underserved in my population. So you guys listening out there, I know. I deserve a kick in the ass. I took some time off from social media, having my baby and moving to Germany. And, there was a part of me that was really like, you know what? This might be selfish, but usually how I make decisions is if it excites me, then I do it,
Totally. And that's what you should be doing. Because to be honest with you, the social media can go.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Like, people aren't going to suffer if I'm not constantly trying to throw content down their throats.
Totally.
I don't want my people to suffer. I want them to enjoy what I'm posting and what I'm putting out. So until I can really focus on creating content that I enjoy making, that I think that they will also enjoy, then I'm just not going to post.
Totally. And I love that. And I also, that's one of the things that my team has pretty much forbidden me from doing is like, I should not be going on and doing our answering questions in our Facebook group, right? Like I have trained people. So, again, that's another thing, like don't confuse, because you can be writing content, recording videos, whatever, or training a staff that can answer that stuff. And your job is not to deliver it and actually go on and make the posts.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we can wrap about that. I don't know how much our audience wants to hear about it. Maybe they want to hear about it a lot and what it's like to actually manage a growing business that's aspiring to get to, the 8 figures. But I think you're doing well. And I think you're really smart in asking these questions now instead of when you're completely overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, that's right. Not completely overwhelmed, a little bit overwhelmed, but not completely overwhelmed. But it's positive though. I mean, what's better than working on your own business? I mean,
totally.
I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. Sure, it's a nonstop job because your brain doesn't get a rest really, but at the same time, I wouldn't rather be investing any time and energy into anything else, really. Because I feel like time is the most precious commodity on the planet, and I'm very careful where I spend my time, who I spend my time with, and there's nobody better than the people that have put their trust in me in order to give them advice on health and fitness. So I really enjoy not only the process of learning myself, but also spinning that back out for those people. And it's amazing. It really is amazing. I'm truly blessed.
That is awesome. You touched on the books, T, that have most impacted your life. Share a few more with me.
Cool. So have you come across Essentialism?
No.
I don't know if it's even really that well known. I mean, it was a New York Times bestseller. It's called Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McKeown. It's right along the lines of Kaizen. It's really great. Of course, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm sure a lot of people have probably spit that title out.
Totally.
The E-Myth was something that I read recently. Again,
so good.
Great. And Kaizen, The Key to Japan's Competitive Success by Imai. I don't know if you've come across that one. It's a fatty.
No, that one I haven't read. I have the little tiny Kaizen book that Annie gave me, though.
That one's great, though. This other one is also great. I found, I know when a book is great whenever I have to break out the highlighter and just start going nuts inside of it. Like,
totally.
And I'm a note writer, too. Like, I normally don't pass along books to other people because I write a lot of notes and things and my own thoughts. I like this point. This is what I think. How can I apply this business philosophy to fitness, or this Kaizen philosophy to fitness? Or how can I apply this to my particular, some aspect of my business? So yeah, I do a lot of highlighting and writing in these books.
Super important.
That's what's on my list. What about you?
Most impactful books for me, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes, that's another great book.
The E-Myth Revisited. Obviously, got to give a shout out to 4-Hour Workweek.
Yeah.
Then I would say my last one is A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle.
New Earth, I want to write this down.
That book will blow your mind. I got to reread it again.
New Earth. Say that again one more time. New Earth.
The author is Eckhart Tolle. Yeah,
Cool.
That's also a pretty popular one. It was like Oprah's favorite book of the year or something like that. Yeah, really, really good one.
Oprah puts a stamp on it. It's legit.
Yeah, I try to read about 20 to 25 books a year minimum. So there's a lot more, but those are the 4 that I keep coming back to.
Do you have a lister of your website of your reads or anything like that?
I have at, let's see. I have a link, jle.vi/ I think it's books, maybe. I'm going to check. I have a link that my team set up that has all my favorite books and all my favorite stuff. Let's see. Yep, jle.vi/ books. You'd think I have memory techniques to remember that stuff. And it has all my favorite books of all time. There's about 50 of them. And then just some other products that I really, really love. I have an all-natural deodorant that I really, really like. A special kind of MCT oil. All my little biohackery stuff is in there.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to check out that link. That's a useful link for my listeners, I'm sure, as well. I trust you and your children's things. So I'll send them along to that.
I appreciate that. Cool. So final questions I want to ask here. As you mentioned, you're in a new environment. You're doing all kinds of stuff. You have a lot of work on your plate. You have a newborn baby. What's the stuff that you're doing right now to keep yourself at optimal performance in the face of all that stress?
Good question. My routines right now, which kind of keep me going, and I ride my bike a lot. I bought a bike. It's not even like an expensive one, it's just 7 gear, something to get around Berlin. It's a bike city, and it's also very green. And I realized in the winter that I really miss being outdoors, and I miss the greenery and the sunshine. And so as soon as it turned spring and all of the flowers bloom and the green came out, I bought a new bike and I hop on it. And so I ride probably an hour a day. And that is really where I do a lot of my thinking and clear my head and kind of set myself up for success for the day.
Brilliant.
That's really useful. Just being active in that way, and where it's like not planning a workout, not working on calisthenics, for example, because I think with calisthenics, you have to be very, very present. This isn't something that you let your mind wander, because you really have to focus on the proprioception and like where you're squeezing, where you're putting your body, where you're moving certain aspects of your body. But the bike ride is just getting on the bike and just riding. So that's really cool for me. At night, I spend a lot of time meditating. A lot, by like 15, 20 minutes. That's not a lot, but it's really good. I think it's more than enough for me to really center myself and refocus.
What kind of meditation are you doing?
Yeah, just mindfulness based, just sitting and just clearing the head. It's just empty mind technique. That's it. Sitting in a quiet room and just working on actually clearing the mind.
Love it. Love it. It's something that I aspire. I just talked to Jason Campbell today from Zen Wellness. It's something that I aspire to get back into my daily routine. It used to be there, but it just has fallen out of the daily routine. So
I think, it's important. Sorry, I think the ambulance out here are crazy. I don't know if you've ever been to Berlin or
I have, yeah.
My God. They really try to frighten everybody in a 10-block radius by Yeah, so back to meditation. Yeah, I think when you practice meditation long enough, like all of life ends up being meditation. You can do it, at any point in time and throughout your day and throughout your routine. It's really cool. I think it's really useful. And I always try to preach it and push it on to people as much as I can.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So T, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you got a whole evening wind down with a meditation plan. So before we let you go, where can people pick up a copy of the new book, and where can they learn more? Where's this new website going to be?
The easiest way, of course, is on Amazon, Amazon.com and Amazon.de. For my German listeners, pick up a copy there. There are definitely links on my website if you just want to go to the website. I'm sure I've posted it everywhere. You're going to get blasted with pop-ups and things promoting the book. There's also links on my Facebook page, facebook.com TMajorFitness, on my YouTube, youtube.com TMajorFitness, my Twitter, T_major. Yeah, all my social media, awesome. You can put there.
So we will put all that stuff into the blog post so people can reach out and get in touch. So make sure to check that out, guys, at superhuman.blog. T, last question before I let you go. What's the biggest message you hope people took away from this episode?
That calisthenics is not exactly what you think it is, and that calisthenics can be certainly a useful part of your routine. Calisthenics can definitely help you to shred body fat, work on coordination, speed, power, acceleration, strength, quickness, agility. All these things that the ancients worked on, you can also work on too.
Beautiful. I love it. Wonderful note to wrap on. T Major, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And I look forward. One day we're going to meet up in person. It's like a 4-hour flight, so we got to make it happen.
Oh, really? It's only that short? Yeah, we definitely have to make that happen. As always, my man, thank you so much. And you know what? This happened last interview too. When we spoke, we always had another discussion afterwards. And so let's make sure we connect and we talk about this. Because
absolutely, I'd love to.
I love connecting with you, my brother. So I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon.
All right, my man.
All right, Super Friends, that is all we have for you today, but I hope you guys really enjoyed the show, and I hope you learned a ton of actionable information, tips, advice that will help you go out there and overcome the impossible. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, or drop us a quick little note on the Twitter machine at GoSuperhuman. Also, if you have any ideas for anyone out there who you would love to see on the show, we always love to hear your recommendations. You can submit on our website, or you can just drop us an email and let us know. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the Becoming Superhuman podcast. For more great skills and strategies, or for links to any of the resources mentioned in this episode, visit www.becomingasuperhuman.com/podcast. We'll see you next time.